Hello, welcome to my garage. On the last drive with the Vectrix I had problems with the rear brake, so I'm going to try to fix it. The brake lever was very hard and at the end the rear brake was smoky and very hot and smelly, so it overheated and I've lost brake pressure, so I think there's something wrong. I'm also going to change the gearbox oil. To do that I have to modify the cover. And I'm going to change the tires. The tires are from 2008, so it's time to change them. If you like these kind of videos, don't forget to subscribe. Let's get started. First, I'm removing the rear brake caliper, so I can inspect it. The brake pads have a terrible smell of the burning. The pistons look like they're moving quite easily. Let's see if we can pull them out without damaging them. I never got a piston out that easy. Let's remove the brake pump. No, I think I have the culprit. A lot of trash in it. After a little bit of cleaning, even the hole was visible again. It was very stuck. I'll put back the brake pump. I have no parts to rebuild it yet. The smelly burned brake pads go back in. I don't have new ones here now, but I first want to know if this is everything I have to do. I'll change them later on. Now the new rebuild kit for the master cylinder is in, so I'll change the piston with the seals. I've looked up all the rubber parts. Now I have a syringe with a little tube, some brake fluid, and I'm going to push it from the caliper back to the main cylinder, hopefully without bubbles. Let all the air out. I don't want to push air into it. Oh, there is coming. The brake already feels pretty good, but I'm still going to bleed the pump. I do that just by loosening the banjo bolt, squeezing, and tight. And again. I see no bubbles coming out of it anymore. I was surprised I couldn't find any damage during the caused by the heating of the brake, but I found out now there is damage. When I now pull the lever, I have first brake pressure, but then it bleeds away, and I found it's the hose. And you can see the hose, and when I apply brake pressure, I have now brake pressure on, you can see it dripping out. So I definitely need a new hose. Now the hose and the caliper are off, so now let's remove the parts at the rear so we can change the tire and the gearbox oil. To drill the hole in the housing, I first drill a small pilot hole so I can drill it from the back to prevent the threads being damaged. That'll do. It's just a marking. Well, that job is done. Now I can refill it and even change the oil much easier. First I put on a new O-ring to make a good seal. Next I line up the bolt holes and put in the bolts, just to prevent the seal from cutting out. Now, these tires are very stiff and very hard to get off the bead. And when they're off the bead, they're pretty hard to get off the rim. It was quite a struggle to get them off. I did the front and the rear tire. First loop in a new tire, and then it's still hard to get them around the rims. I didn't balance the tires. I've tried it on the front tire, but that wasn't working on the manual way, so hopefully I don't get vibrations due to not being balanced, but we'll see that after the test drive, and if we have vibrations then we still can get them balanced somewhere. This one is seated nicely. The studs are quite corroded, so I take them out to put in new stainless ones. The new stainless ones are slightly different size than the old ones, so I've measured how far they have to go in, and then I use some Loctite to get them in place. Now, to make sure the bolts set in the right position. Well, this is the old brake disc. I have a new one. The reason for that was it was overheated, and as you can see, you can see the gap of light. So it's warped in this direction. With the new one, there's no gap. You can't see a gap. If I keep them together, you can also see the gap, maybe a little bit better even. So the old disc, this one is scrap. You can't do anything with it anymore. So we now mount the new one. This is the mark I've made, so the hole is over here. Syringe, I have about 90 milliliters of oil. I've added some, put in some additive for extra lubrication. The threads are nice and clean. And this bolt will also be the closing one for the hole. Now I've put some Loctite on it to make sure it seals properly. Now all the bolts are torqued up to spec. Hopefully the last time I put on the caliper. When I removed the brake line, I put in a little wire so I can pull the brake line back in its original place. Mounting it on the original positions with the original bolts and clips. The banjo bolts have all new washers on it. Now we can fill the system again. Well, it's all done by now. The complete motorcycle is back together. It's time to make a test drive to see if the tires are vibrating and if the gearbox is now a bit more quiet. And of course, if the brakes are now working properly. Let's go for a ride to check it out. Well, the test drive was a great success. No vibrations on the tires. The brakes work properly, and the noise from the gearbox is a little bit less. So all three things worked out very good. The next project will be the swap of the batteries. The range goes then from about 18 kilometers at low speed to about somewhere between 200 and 400 kilometers. But that's for another video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope to see you on the next one.